Peace, everyone. This is Medicine Man once again. It's like the touch bases. We're back once again, and I like to touch bases with everybody about what make love spells work. I think it's really important for people who seeking to have love work done to understand the mechanics of love works and understand what makes love work really work for you. Because there's a lot of people who have the assumption that when they come to a root worker, that automatically that their desires can be fulfilled. But they don't understand universal law. There are certain laws in the universe that has to be followed, no matter what kind of root work, hoodoo or voodoo you're doing. There's certain laws in the universe that has to be followed. And if those laws are not followed, then you won't be able to achieve your objective. So as a root worker, what we do is we do the spiritual work, but along with the spiritual work, there is transformative work that the person has to do in order to complete or order to exert the right amount of force into the love work so that the root worker can use that person's energy to manifest the love work. All right. Now, one of the things that I have down is about the questions about what makes love work really work. The first thing that makes love work really, really works is truth. You have to be truthful to the root worker about the situation when you bring the situation to them. A lot of times people, the side chick syndrome, and I'm going to speak about that in particular. A lot of time the side chick comes knowing that this man is married, knowing that this man is in a long-term relationship and has already been in this relationship, or knowing that this woman is married, knowing that she's been in this long-time relationship, and they still want to basically try to wedge that person away from the situation, from the relationship. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying there's a greater amount of force that needs to be exerted to kind of pull somebody away, because there's an opposing force of that person's other better half, loving on that person and spending time and bonding with that person, which is an opposing force to the work that you're trying to do. So when I talking about the side chick syndrome, a lot of times the side chick syndrome comes in, or the side man son, Tyrone comes in on the side when there's some kind of disagreement or some kind of level of imbalance in the relationship, where the person steps out of the relationship and then develops a relationship with the side person, and then the side person get caught up. Now, then the side person comes see a root worker because now the side person want that person for themselves. That whole situation is uneven. You know what I mean? And that's why I say when you come to a root worker, be truthful, because a lot of times the side chick or the side dude don't be telling the root worker that they know that this person is in a relationship. So this is why we do the readings. We do the readings so we find out through the readings that, hey man, this person is involved with somebody. It's not a good idea to continue to try to, get this person back. And if you do, it's only going to be on a cheating basis, because that's the basis on how you met the person. You see? Now, if you're not a side chick, if you're not a side dude, then the next level of trying to get somebody back, and if that person is not in a relationship, the next step to getting that person back will be consistency. I know a lot of time root workers, they like to tell clients, and I don't knock nobody else, but I hear a lot of people come to me and say, well, medicine man, they tell me don't reach out to the person. Just let the person, the spirit is going to make the person reach out to me. And I say, well, that can happen. But where is your energy? Where is your emotional, spiritual contribution to the work? A lot of times we are led to believe that The root worker has this spirit that's going to work without your intervention, without your help, without your energy, without nothing from you. And my perspective on root working from my experience, I really don't see that as logical. What I do see as logical is that people are deeply involved, not overly involved, but deeply involved in their root work. Now that don't mean they should be doing spells or love or doing the work themselves. What it does mean is that they should contribute consistently to repairing the damage that they have caused in the relationship. Because most time when people come to a root worker for relationship work, it's some kind of damage that was done. Okay, there's some kind of fault that was made. So part of bringing the person back and reconnecting the relationship is for that person who want the root work done to realize their mistake, to know your faults and your contributions to the failure of the relationship. And once you understand and know your faults and contribution to your relationships, then you can try, you can attempt, you can work towards overcoming them. That alone is an energy burst towards repairing your relationship, because you have to realize your faults. You have to realize your faults were the reasons that contributed to the failed relationship. So by repairing them, you release and send out into the universe a whole lot of energy that helps towards repairing the broken relationship. And part of seeing your faults is not seeing your faults in a sense that you would actually be like, oh, bring yourself down with it. You don't do that. You recognize your faults as growth. Every bad habit, every vice that you have about yourself is a sign of growth. Because if you wallow in it, if you lay down in it, it's going to overtake you. But if you master it, it's going to help you overcome a part or aspect of yourself that you currently couldn't. And it helps you to build up the emotional force that you need to put towards prosperity and progression in your life. And this whole thing is about mastery. So when I say that you got to master the faults of yourself first, clear the path. That's what that is. That's clearing the path for you to bring this person back, and you have a new you. The new you is in effect now. You're not that same person that you were when the relationship ended. You see? So by you changing yourself and becoming that new person, by ridding yourself of your vices, ridding yourself of your faults, getting rid of all your bad habits, then when the root work take effect, when them spirits start working and bringing that person back, and you start making that contact with that person might expect, oh yeah, he or she the same person. Let me see what they're talking about. And then when they get the energy of the new you, poof, the root work start to take effect. So now the new you is captivating, is enchanting to the person. So now you can work from there, step by step through gradual process to bring the person all the way back to you. This is how the root work and love spells really work. And my perspective, so it's all about people changing themselves and opening the door, opening the way, the path. So when that person comes back, they don't have the same fears that they had originally that ran them off. A lot of times situations may be different. You may have not ran the person off. The person may have just went with somebody else. But even then, you still got to look at your faults. What is it about you that made this person say, you know what, I don't think he or she is not for me. I don't think they're for me. But what would make that person actually get to that point of making that conclusion about you? It has to be something about you. So we have to learn that when we get into relationships, our individuality at some point has to be sacrificed. And that's true. We get in a relationship that in our individuality just got to get sacrificed. We can't hang out with our friends like we wanted to as much. We can't go on these all homeboy trips or all girl trips like we wanted to when we're in a relationship, because relationships have boundaries. When we get ourselves in relationships, we must understand that there are boundaries. We cannot bring a single mind into a relationship, because oftentimes that's the reason why they fail. Because you got one person thinking about teamwork and you got the other person thinking about individuality. Now, that person might not be cheating on you, but cheating is a thing where, we can look at it from different perspectives. A person can not, a person cannot be having sex with nobody. Not be having sex with nobody, but yet make themselves emotionally available to anybody. In some people's minds, some people's perspective, that is cheating. Because when we give ourselves physically to somebody, that's cheating. But if you give yourself emotionally to somebody, that's cheating also. You see? So part of giving love work, and getting that love work really done and understanding what it means to have the love work done is definitely understanding what we need to do to transform ourselves. You know what I mean? I'm open to some questions since I see, I see a few people is with me on online with me. I need to pick my camera up. All right, I have a question. Panda Bear says, important question, Medicine Man. If we do reconciliation spell with you, will dating someone else while the work is being done cancel out the reconciliation work? Some root workers think this. My answer to that question is we have to live our life. But it's all about where your emotions is really set at. And, most times we get deeply involved with one person, and then that's what it is. And then other times we get involved on a surface level with people. We are multidimensional beings, and let me say this: we multidimensional, which means we can deeply love someone and be deeply in love with that person, but yet we still can love somebody else. Now, we choose to get ourselves involved physically with the other person we just basically love, then that's on us. But ultimately, we know where our heart at. So, and for that reason, I tell people, don't sit at home stressing yourself out, being alone, being lonely while you're waiting on reconciliation work to happen. Go out, have some fun. Go out, enjoy life. Don't restrict yourself, because you put yourself in a box, you're only going to make yourself stressed out and depressed while you're waiting on the work to come through. All right? I hope that answers your question. Yin Yang asked me if I like cookies. Hey, I ain't even want to answer that on camera, man, but I do like cookies, man. Like them Girl Scout cookies, the cream and the mint spearmint cream Girl Scout cookies be slamming. I be catching them little girls out there by Food Line, be buying up the boxes, you know what I mean? Any more questions coming in? Larry Gator Rivers, man, you say, what are the laws? All right. The laws of nature, is all about balance, you know what I mean, for the most part. But there's so many laws, especially when it comes to love work. So when you're doing love work, it just depends on the situation, what laws apply, what's applicable. You know what I mean? and that's based on scenario basis, and each case is individual. But the laws of the universe is like you got to do a certain thing for another thing to happen. You see what I mean? So you got to put out exert a certain amount of force for a certain amount of force to come back to you. Like I said, I'm still open for some questions about love work. I know all y'all doing this love work. I see nothing but witches up in there. You know what I mean? I see all y'all doing this love work, and I know y'all got some love work in the cut. Yeah, hey, I feel you, Larry, man. Hey, in wall, not love. I can dig it, man. You know what I mean? All right, I got a question coming in. Say, if you work on yourself and an ex that you want comes back, still the same person, what's the recourse? All right, Sonia, I'm trying to understand your question. You said if I worked on myself and an ex that I wanted, hold on, and an ex that I wanted comes back, still the same person, what's the recourse? I think you might be saying if I do some work on myself and my ex and I end up getting the same person back, you should change the work, definitely, and aim and guide and steer your work towards something new. Sometimes we be wanting people back that we already previously had, and the universe is like, man, there's like 8 billion other people on this whole planet that's willing to put some loving on you. So you know what I mean? I think that as growing divine beings, we should all weigh our resources all the way out, man, and look at what's more available than what we got our heart and our mind set on. Because sometimes what we have our heart and mind set on don't necessarily be the best thing happening for us. You know what I mean? You might feel good, but you might not be good. I have another question. When love work has been used as a weapon against you, and your ex stopping you from being having, your Mojo Blue, I'm trying to understand your question. You said when love work has been used against you and your ex from stopping you having a relationship. Yeah, I mean, love work can be used against you to stop you from getting in a relationship. You can have blockages. People can put blockages in your love life. And let's say, for example, two people got love work on you at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you got one guy who got some love work trying to get you, and you got another guy got some love work trying to get you, and then you got a third guy that you're really interested in. How is that going to pan out? You know what I mean? How is that going to pan out? All right. Now, yeah, Larry, you say I'm about conquering enemies, man. Listen, one of these days, man, we're gonna have a live talk about winning court cases and things like that, because that's what I'm really about. You know what I mean? Let's go to the next question. What about doing work? Damn, sweet dice Willie. What about doing work for a threesome? Man, that's deep. You know, that's sex magic, man. I really don't talk about that too much on camera. I have dreams of people pulling me back, always about 3 people pulling me back. What do I do? That's a good one. When we're talking about dreams, man, dreams are symbolic images of what's really taking place in our conscious mind or what's taking place in our spirit and in our life at times. So when we see a dream, if you got a dream of 3 people pulling you back. Now let's look at that from a numerology aspect. The number 3 is a path number. All right? The number 3 is a path number. So when we look at the number 3 and you got the instance of inside a dream of somebody pulling you back, 3 people pulling you back. And to be honest with you, if I was to interpret that dream, I would tell you that your path is about to be closed. There are some things that's holding you back from accomplishing your goal. There's something that you got, a reader would show what that something is, but there is something that's actually going on in your life that causing you to get pulled back from accomplishing your goal. I think you pretty much already know what that is. All right. It says, Panda Bear says, is you are dating a bisexual man, is it possible to do a spell to make him 100% straight? Man, that's a deep question. Um, what I would say, we talk, when you say something like, when you ask a question like that, you're really talking about changing somebody's destiny. If that is that person's destiny, then you shouldn't attempt to change that person's destiny because you want to be with them. The universe interprets that as a selfish gain. Selfish gains often have very, very, very complex ways of manifesting themselves, and often they don't even manifest themselves at all. So that is one you should stay away from, Miss. So if you work on yourself, Sonia G. So if you work on yourself and ask the universe to bring some new love, then you run into the ex that you, oh boy, you run into the ex that he or she is different. Is this a green light? Sonia G, if you throw some work out there on yourself to generally to attract love. And when I say generally, that means that, you didn't put the work on anybody in particular. You just threw it out there generally to attract and make yourself magnetic to some loving. All right, cool. So you do that, and then guess who shows up? Your ex. Okay, that's cool. May be cool, may not be cool. But your ex shows up, and he's the brand new man, brand new girl, whatever. They brand new. They better. They more energetic. They more spunky, spontaneous, whatever you want to call it. Okay, cool. So now you are re-attracted to this ex. Well, give it a shot. Because you have, one, history with the person. Two, you know the imperfections. And if they have changed, that means that basically the imperfections don't exist anymore. And their imperfections may have been the reason why you left the person. So being that they have changed, mean that is a perfect time for y'all to get together. So give it a try. Okay, goddess, Kira, what does it mean when my ancestors visit a man I'm talking to and chanting around him? It could mean numerous of things. It could mean that somewhere down the line in the spirit realm that you guys were connected somewhere spiritually, and that your ancestors recognize this man or recognize his bloodline. Or it could be a good positive sign, or depends on what the chanting was or how the chanting was done and other elements in the dream. But it could be that your ancestors really showing you or showing him or showing both of you through his dream, through his vision, that, y'all have somewhat of a spiritual connection, and that spiritual connection could grow if you would come together a little more seriously. All right, Maya. Maya says, I tried so many love spells, nothing worked, at least not enough. But flame candles act crazy as fuck, so that was interesting. Oh yeah, see, it just depends on the circumstance of the love spell. Like I said, you got to know what you're getting. Oftentimes we try to make people love us who really actually don't love themselves. So if a person don't love themselves, if a person is being reckless with themselves, and you come along and trying to put love work on them to make them love you, only thing I can tell you with that is good luck. Because when in love work, just like any other kind of work, we have to be strategic and we have to be logical and reasonable on what we're doing. You see what I'm saying? So maybe it's that person maybe not capable of being loved externally because that person hasn't established enough love within their own self. Emoji Blue says, what does it mean when your relationships are short term? That means you need to work on some longevity. That means you need to figure out ways and ideas to extend your relationships. Look at what caused your relationships to fail. Look at all the short relationships you had in the past. And then ask yourself, okay, what is the common denominator between all of these short relationships that contributed to them being short? And then you remove that common denominator and you replace it with something long lasting. Let's say you're a couch potato. Let's say all you like to do is sit at home all day. Okay, let's say you meet this man. This man like to go out. He like to go shooting pool and go to the movies, go ice skating, go out to dinner. He like to do things, UFC fights and stuff like that. If you don't like that kind of thing, you have to Like I told you earlier, when you're in a relationship, you have to learn how to sacrifice. So the things that you don't like, your man like to watch football, you need to learn how to watch some football and cook some wings on Sunday when the Super Bowl come on, when playoffs come on. Why? Not because, or you being a slave, because you're learning to compromise in a relationship. You're learning to do the things that makes relationships last, other than lay down, have sex, and be the black queen and be the boss. You have to compromise. The same way, he can't lay down, have sex, be the black king, and be the boss either. You have to compromise. And I think this is the hardest part in all relationships. Sonia G, will I be doing any more classes? Yeah, I'll be doing some more classes soon. Right now, and I'm doing one-on-one sessions for all my students and everybody I'm connected with. So if you want to reach out to me about the one-on-one sessions, please do at the medicinemale21 at Gmail. Right, Maya. You asked, and Maya question, her answer was, it wasn't directed at one person. I asked the universe for anyone compatible. Yeah, most definitely. See, when you ask the universe for somebody compatible, what they do is bring the closest person to you most times. And who was the closest person to you that was loving on you and that cared for you like that intimately? Your ex. Because you haven't met anybody new. The ex was the last one. So when you threw it out there, he was the closest one to receive that energy. And this is why I say we have to be careful even in our love work. Because you can throw a general love work out there to attract somebody, but if you already know you got two dudes stalking you, when you throw that general work out there to attract somebody, and these two dudes who's stalking you, guess what's going to happen? They're going to catch it. They're going to catch that work, and they're going to start stalking you harder because you threw it out on a general basis. So what I'm saying is, we have to discover ways to be more particular when we throw our love work out, even on a general perspective. Let's say, for example, you go out to black expos a lot. And so when you do your general love work, you say, well, I want to go to the black expo and I want to meet somebody. You know what I mean? So for me, if I say I go into the Black Expo, I'm going to do some root work and say I'm going to do some work to meet all the pretty women, to be conversational with all the pretty women, to be, you know what I mean, social and engaging with all the pretty women at the Black Expo. You see what I'm saying? And for that reason, I would throw the work in a specific way right there instead of just tossing it up. All right. I'm just looking back through the questions to see if we got any more questions before I get offline. I ain't gonna stay in there too long. 30 minutes usually my deadline, y'all. But I just wanted to elaborate on some things about what makes love works and answer a few questions because I want people to understand that love work is very, very complex. You know what I mean? Some just depending on the situation. The ultimate situation is to be married to someone. And that marriage work hits hard when you're already married because you have a spiritual pact and a spiritual bond with the person already. So when you're trying to get your husband or your wife back, the effects of it's going to be even stronger for you. Most definitely. Most definitely, it'll be stronger for you. So I do have one more question coming in. All right. Does burning white copal resin bring in spirits? It just depends. It just depends on what you're doing or what tradition you're using. In hoodoo, every root worker, every hoodoo practitioner, based on their family lineage, they have formulas for various things, and different people have different formulas. So when it comes to bringing in spirits and calling up and conjuring spirits, every root worker and their family have their own formulas for it. So you would have to actually learn Panda Bear under someone and learn the formulas of that root workers through their lineage or whatever. All right. Maya, there was no one. I haven't heard from my ex in a year. Okay, I got you on that one. All right, sweet Willie. Yeah, hit me up. Just text me, man. Text me. I'll be offline in a few. So if anybody want to, email me or text me, I'll be answering some questions via email and text after I get offline for a moment to try to see what everybody got going on and what they're looking for. All right, Blessed Starlet says, can a man get free from work done on him for him to marry the person? Can a man get free from work done on him for him to marry the person? Of course, a man can get free from the work done on him. It just depends on what magnitude that work is at. You know what I mean? If the man that got some work done on him and he done went and married the girl, then that's a challenge. But if he got work on him and they're just basically in a relationship, there is possibilities that we can, that any root worker, with the right skill set can bring that person back to you. It just depends on how you ended up with that person too. You know what I mean? If you ended up with that person cheating on cheating with that person on that person's wife or husband, then you have to look at that because those are opposing forces, and you have to look at that and how it's going to affect that work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's married. He's married, Blessed Starlet. So it's going to be a little more complex because you got to work on the marriage first. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she probably definitely do got him good. You have to look at the fact that, sex is part of a binding process too. So she's still with him, she still sleep with him, she's still, projecting that sexual energy at him to where he's definitely gonna be bounded and caught up. All right, I'm still taking a few more questions. A few more questions coming in. So we don't have any more questions for the most part. I'm still open to taking relationship questions and love work questions for people that's caught up in this love work situations and trying to work that work and get this lover back, or more questions on how they can work on themselves, on how to transform themselves in a way that when they bring their lover back, or when the root worker bring their lover back, they can actually be prepared to keep that lover. You know what I mean? To keep that boyfriend, to keep that girlfriend, to keep that wife, to keep that husband. And that's the most important part about it. You know what I mean? Being able to keep the person when they come back. Because oftentimes we get good root work done and get the person to come back to us, and we still that same terrible, bad, characteristic, personality person that we were in the beginning when, when we lost them. All right, Lydia. Lydia says, how do you keep them? And one of the ways that you keep somebody when you get them back is by being compromising. Sometimes we are too much. And most people that want love work done to get their lover back, I found, and I'm not being, sideways with nobody, but I found that many of you guys are too much for the person. So what we do is we work on bringing your emotional levels down, getting you in a state of equilibrium emotionally so that you're not too much for the person. You see? Panda Bear say, can you tell us a story of the best love work you've achieved? Love work, good God Almighty. Oh yeah, I had a guy from Maryland. He was from Baltimore, and his wife had left him, and he had called me. He's like, Medicine Man, my friend told me to call you. My wife left, and I really love. I mean, he made me laugh that morning too. He was like, man, my wife left, and I really, really love her, man. I'm telling you, man. Hey, this is the first time I ever called a root, man, to get my wife back, man. She been gone for about 3-4 days, man, and I want her back, man. And I said, all right, bro. I said, you know what? I said, you the first dude this year call me back about getting this woman back. I said, I'm going to respect that. I said, most of the times I get phone calls, it's usually a girl trying to get a man back. But I said, you know what, man? I said, I respect that, bro. I said, boy, you must be loudest one, yeah. Because I picked up his energy. So as I pick up his energy, I said, he love her. I got her. Send me a picture. You know, we went through the process of getting what I needed to get and information I needed to collect. And I did the love work. I called him back. I said, man, the love work in progress. Lay back, chill and relax. Give it some time. I ain't heard nothing back from the man for about 2 months. I ain't heard nothing back from him. So I've been kind of just going through my thing. I said, man, let me call him, man, see whatever happened. Because he ain't never, usually if things ain't going right, people usually call you back and be like, hey, so-and-so's not acting right or whatever, and you have to continue to work on it. So I'm like, okay, I ain't nothing back from this dude. I called him back. He said, oh, man, Medicine Man. And then he was trying to call me by my real name and call me all kind of code names. I said, what's going on, man? He said, yeah, man, me and my wife, man, we together right now, man. I'm going to call you back a little later. And then, I laughed it off. And then when I called him back a little later, we talked later, he was like, man, I got the work done. I meant to call you back, man. But when you did the work, man, and she came back, apologized, she was sorry, and this, that, and the other, and and explained the whole situation. And they've been consistently together for the last 4 or 5 months. No problem now whatsoever. So I thought that was some of the best stuff I've done lately. Recent stuff. Alrighty. Any more questions before I go? Hey, Miss T, how you doing? I'm doing well. I'm just maintaining. Just dropping something on y'all. I don't want to stay all day though. So if we don't have any more questions, this is definitely Medicine Man. I'll be signing out. Y'all should hit my website up. It's www.swampwaterroots.com. It's spelled SWAMPWATERROOTZ.com, swampwaterroots.com. We still have the ancestral, praise the ancestor shirts. I have the readings. We got a lot of things going on. I'm planning a boot camp in Washington, D.C. for all my Washington, D.C. residents. We're going to be planning a boot camp really soon, live at the Potomac River. So I want you guys to hit me up. If you're local in the D.C. area, hit me up about that, and we can see what we can get going on there. So yeah, definitely, Sonia G. We're going to be at the Potomac River very, very, very soon. We actually do ritual work at the Potomac, the waterworks out there. So we just setting it up so we can have some other people come in and we can teach how to work with the water spirits down there. So that's in the making. Most definitely reach out to me about it. The one-on-one sessions, reach out to me about it. And we can see definitely how we can fit you all in and get these things taken care of to learn how to work our roots. And y'all have a beautiful day. Make sure you email me at medicinemail21@gmail. Y'all know my number. Hit me up on my website. And y'all stay great. Yeah, Moja, hit me up. Text me or email me, and we'll get you a shirt sent out to you, most definitely. Y'all be good. This Medicine Man. Peace. I'll be back a little later, man. We're going to shed some light on some things. I'm going to talk about some rainwater later on today. All right? Peace.